So I don't think we could not do a video today, to be honest, about the death of Yevgeny Prigozhin. And if you don't know who this person is the leader of Wagner. And to be honest, no one should be shedding any tears for this guy. Not only was he the leader of Wagner, but Wagner have committed war crimes in Africa. They have looted, raped, and pillaged places in Africa for the enrichment of people like Yevgeny Prigozhin. They've done the same in Syria, trying to take oil fields, and also in Ukraine as well. We have seen reports of people who were captured by the Wagnerites come back reporting extreme torture at the hands of these people. So this person ultimately was responsible for many of the actions that were carried out by this mercenary group. And it is worth pointing out, this is a mercenary group. However, it is extremely funded and sanctioned, of course, by Putin. You know, we said it at the time when Prigozhin did his infamous mutiny and his march towards Moscow. All his power comes from Putin. So when the dog, shall we say, bit the hand that feeds him, well, many people were wondering, you've missed your chance, you've missed your shot. And a lot of people are saying, why weren't many other people engaging in that revolution? There's a lot of speculation that maybe this was prompted by Putin because he wanted to see who was loyal and who was not. There's a lot of speculation now that this, shall we say, accident, and I say accident in the biggest air quotes possible, because there are a couple of eyewitness reports that report a double bang in the sky where Prigozhin's plane came down. And certainly, this was a guy who was his own private plane. And as Biden came out recently and said, there is nothing that happens in Russia without Putin's say so. I think this is very, very clearly sending a warning to anyone else in the elites of Russia. If you oppose Putin, don't expect to survive. Well, at least not for too long. Even John Sweeney, who's out, I believe, in Ukraine at the moment, covering all the war stuff and everything that he's doing, he said it himself. He said, his message to Prigozhin after the mutiny was, don't drink any suspicious tea, don't get in an airplane, and of course, don't go near any open windows. Because that's normally, should we say, Putin's favorite message. And as I reported, talking about this in the Labour social chat, Phil from A Different Bias even said he's surprised that Prigozhin hadn't been invited to go view the new 5th floor and the Wagner officers with Colonel Klutz. And to be honest, I do sort of agree. And many people were shocked that this hadn't happened a lot sooner, but many people said they knew it was coming. It was only a matter of time. And now we have to wonder, what's the response going to be from this? Because Wagner as a force may have lost its leadership, but it is far from done. Maybe now it will get forced into the Russian army, which is something Prigozhin, which led up to the mutiny, which he was heavily fighting against. Maybe that will now happen as a result of his death, and all these Wagner fighters that were getting fed up of having to fight in this meat grinder battle in the Ukraine would love to go back to Africa so that they could fight people who weren't prepared, and they could do their fast infantry combat tactics and commit all kinds of pillage, rape, and murder that they wanted out there. I mean, they just got a contract with Mali to do that as, quote, security. So this is someone who, his death should not be mourned. It should be celebrated. But to be honest, it being at the hands of Putin, we shouldn't be praising Putin either. this was clearly done to send a message. And of course, remember, Putin is having an election next year. So there's a lot of people suspecting that. And I just want to raise some comments of here. So this comes from Bill Browder, who was a businessman with years of experience working with in Russia, and certainly with the Kremlin, and a critic of him, had this to say: Putin never forgives and never forgets. He looked like a humiliated weakling when Prigozhin was running around without a care in the world after a mutiny. This will cement his authority. Someone else, another Putin critic, Abbas Galamov, had this to say: the establishment is now convinced that it will no longer be possible to oppose Putin. Putin is strong enough and capable of revenge. The exiled leader of the opposition, Sativa Tar, I can't say his full name now, Tisahogkufa, I don't know how you say it, who's currently in Belarus, had this to say: he was a murderer and should be remembered as such, he said. Again, of course, referring to Yevgeny Prigozhin. But this could have repercussions, and I don't know if it will have repercussions or not. Sometimes, we see dictators doing their dictator thing of, using their steel fist to crush an opponent, and then maybe that makes people think, well, Putin sent a message. If you come after him, you've not got to miss. So while Putin has sent the message of, you don't oppose me, I am, sending the message, I am still a strong and capable leader, he's also sent the message, if you come for me, don't miss. And to be honest, that's what we eventually hope will happen. Like I say, the war in Ukraine is still not going Russia's way. And the fact that this was meant to be this massive, super powerful Russian army that we were all meant to be terrified of, that would take over Ukraine in a matter of days, has been ground to a halt, can't carry out any major offensives, and is now limited to, from what we've seen reported by actual Russian soldiers, feel that they've been sending on suicide missions or just complete suicide runs. And we've seen the video evidence of this in footage in Volodar during last year's apparent counteroffensive by Russia in the winter. Even recently, this has happened as well. Russia can't go on in this war. It cannot continue under these sanctions. And even if it should somehow, quote, win, there's still large questions about what's going to happen to its economy. All these people that Putin has conscripted into the army, they now are allowed, soldier pay and soldier pensions. The Russian economy cannot take handling all those extra pension payments it now has to make. And if Putin messes with that, oh boy, there will be certainly pushback in Russia, that's for sure. But we'll see what happens. This is just yet another chapter in this long saga in this. But Putin's still around for now. But as I said earlier, I think he sent a very clear message. If you come for me, don't miss. Otherwise, otherwise, I won't miss when I come after you. So we'll see what happens. So far, of course, everyone's pointing the finger at Putin. Because, well, Biden was right. Nothing happens in Russia without Putin say so. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.